at what we're talking about here, okay? If you were creating a map of your exhibits, just instead of, because I don't want you to make out your own graph, somebody tell me, how would I plot these points? How would I plot 2, 2? Now, over, the first one is always over or back, and then the second one is always what? Up or down. So this would be over 2, up 2. This would be over 0, up 2. This would be what? Back 1, up 1. And this would be back, down 1. Okay? Now, on number 2, if you were planning to build a square building, 3 of the 4 vertices of the building are 0, 0. Just to kind of envision this in your head. 0, 0. What is 0, 0? What is that also called? The origin. Good. So it's at 0, 0, over 5 up 0, over 0 up 5. Where do you think the 4th vertex of that building is going to be if it's going to be a square? Over 5 up 5. Good. Okay. If this is on number 3, Chelsea is planning a vegetable garden. She wants to create a diagram to remember where each plant is located. The peas are at 1, 1. The corn is at 2, 2. The beets are at 3, 3. What will the diagram look like? What is that going to form? Think about this. Over 1, up 1, over 2, up 2. And then over 3, up 0. What's that going to look like? It's a triangle. Good. Okay, so the next part, some stuff that we're going to talk about as far as vocabulary. Okay, you guys have all heard about GPS. Okay, GPS, the way that this works, the way that it's a global positioning system. Okay, if you ever use maps or your parents use maps when if your parents use a GPS map when they're driving somewhere, okay, it can track where you're at, okay? But the way that does that, okay, it's very similar to how a graph works, okay? Because they position where you're at. And from space, it looks, obviously from satellites, it looks a little bit different, okay? But a GPS provides a person's location using satellites that orbit the Earth. There are about 24 satellites that orbit the Earth twice a day to provide continuous radio signals to a person's GPS system, okay? It's just kind of giving you an idea of how that works. Okay, so some stuff you're going to learn about. All right, you should write these down in your notes, please. Okay, write down image. Don't write definitions yet. We're going to do definitions in a moment. Image, pre-image, transformation, and translation. Okay? Image is pretty easy, right? What do you think an image is? Okay, it can be something, and as far as the coordinate plane goes, okay, it's something on a graph. A pre-image, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, transformation. Okay, transformation is basically, if you hear the word transformation, what do you think of? A change, right? Something changes, okay? And a translation, okay, what does translation typically mean? If I take a word, okay, let's say the word adios, okay? If I translate that into English, what does that mean? It means goodbye. Do those things mean the same thing, though? They are different as far as the words, but the meaning is the same. So a translation, we're not changing what that means. We're just changing the way it looks, if that makes sense. Okay? All right. So let's look at when we talk about transformations. Okay? A transformation, write down this definition, because I'm going to have vocabulary on this next test. So you're going to need to write this stuff down. Okay? A transformation is an operation on a map's geometric figure into a new figure. Okay? Write that definition down. The original geometric figure is a pre-image. The new figure is called the image. Okay? So if we were to look at A and A with this A with the apostrophe, okay, this is the new image. And that apostrophe, okay, if you see when you have that apostrophe, that it's called A prime. Okay, that apostrophe symbol is called a prime. Okay, and prime symbols are used for vertices in a transformed image. So what that means is if I am referring to this, is this the original image? No. This image has been transformed. This has been changed in some way. Okay, so this would be my pre-image, A. This would be my image, and that A prime means that I have moved or done something to that image. Make sense? So if I was to say A prime, which one am I referring to? This? This. Okay, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so if we talk about translations on the coordinate plane. All right, we have a figure. Okay, we've got this triangle. Okay, And a translation, write this down for your definition of a translation, is a transformation that slides a figure from one position to another without turning it. Look at this figure, okay? This is my image, my pre-image, okay? When it moves to the new image, okay, did I change or rotate that figure or flip that figure at all? All it did was slide. It's as if I took it, literally, it's as if I took this figure and I slid it down to here. Okay, does that make sense? That's like a translation, okay? You are just moving a figure from one position to another. You're not changing the shape. You're not turning it. You're not rotating it, okay? You're not doing anything with it except for moving it, okay? Make sense? Now, this unit, the triangle is shown translated 3 units left and 2 units down. Somebody tell me the coordinates of B on the pre-image. Over 3 up 4, right? Over 3 up 4. So think about this. If I said I want you to translate this image, but I don't want you to do it on a graph, somebody tell me, how do you think you could do that? If I asked you to translate an image, and let's just talk about B, okay? Tessa, what can I do for that? You could write the new coordinates, but look at what this says. Okay, it's translated 3 units left. Okay, what are the coordinates of my x value here? Over how many? 3. So if I go 3 to the left, what's that new x going to be? 0. Okay, and then 2 units down. So this one was over 3 up 4. If this image goes 2 units down, what are the new y coordinates going to be? 0, 2, which is that correct here, 0, 2? Yeah, so if I just gave you the coordinates of A, B, C, and I told you to translate these 3 units left and 2 units down, you could tell me the new units without actually translating it on a graph, right? Yes? Okay. All right. All right, so if we're going to translate a figure on the coordinate plane, okay, and of all the transformations that we're going to do, translations are the easiest because they just slide, okay? So if we have this one, okay, JKL, triangle JKL, okay, after a translation of 2 units down and 5 units down, write the coordinates of the image. Now, first of all, is this an image or is this a pre-image? Pre-image, okay. So if I were to write the new units, if I want to translate this, and I'm going to go, each point is going to go 2 units right and what? 5 units down. So if I go 2 units right and 5 units down, where's that new J going to be? -1, -1, -1. What about the new K? 2 units right, 5 units down. What's that one going to be? 3, -2. And what about the new L? Tell me the new L without moving it. -2, -4. Good. Over 2, down 4. Good. And now what are those going to be called? If I asked for the new J, what's that going to be called? Okay. What is the new J called? J what? J prime, K prime, and L prime. Okay. So if I said, what are the coordinates of L prime? You would answer -2, -4. Okay, good. Does that make sense? Easy. Okay, we already did all this. We're good. All right, so let's look at this one. Okay. We're going to translate this figure on the coordinate plane. All right. Part A, graph the image of ABC after a translation of 4 units left. Now, this is the pre-image, right? So see if you can write down the coordinates of A prime, B prime, and C prime. And remember, what are we doing with it? 4 units left and 3 units where? Up. Okay? So what's going to happen to our x value? We're going to do it with our x's. Subtract what? 4. And what are we going to do with our y units? Add 3. Okay? So write down the coordinates in your notes. Let's see if you get it right. Okay, does anybody know what A prime would be? Remember, I'm going to go 4 units left, 3 units up. 0 what? 0, 4 units left. Up how many? What's that going to be? 0, 0. What's B going to be? Negative 4 what? Negative 4, 5. What's C going to be? C prime. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 1. Okay, good. All right, does that make sense so far? Okay. All right, now, just using the coordinates, okay? I'm not looking at a picture now. Okay, I'm just looking at the coordinates. So if we have this figure, okay, if we enter 5 for the horizontal translation and negative 4 for the vertical. Okay, what does that mean? If I say 5 for horizontal, where's horizontal, guys? Left to right, right? So if it's a 5, what kind of 5 is that? It's positive 5. So what's going to happen to all my x values? They're going to go to the right 5 or add 5, right? And if it's 4, negative 4 on the vertical, what does vertical mean? Up and down. So if it's negative 4, where's that going? Down 4, okay? So if we look at A is 1, 5, okay? So what's going to happen to my new A? 6, and what's 5 minus 4? 6, 1. So my first point should be about right here, okay? And then my new B is going to be what? 8, 2. What's my new C going to be? 9, 0. Okay, does that make sense how we found that? Okay, all right. So if I asked you guys to do this one, to translate these points just using the coordinates, okay, here's what you have. You have vertices, this is a triangle, of negative 1, 2, 6, negative 3, and 2, negative 5. Do you have to draw a graph here? No. Good. Tell me my new coordinates. This one's easy. What's happening to my horizontal value? It's going left, right? So what does that mean? Minus 2. And then it's going up. So what does that mean? Plus 1. Okay, so what are the coordinates of x prime? How many of you guys say negative 3, negative 1? Good. What's the new coordinates of y prime? 4, negative 2. And what about z? Okay. Let's see if you got those right. I believe you did. Good. Is that what everybody got? Okay. All right. Do we need to do this extra example, or are we okay on this? Okay. All right. Now, use coordinate notation to describe translations. Here's what you're doing now. You're going to have 2 units, okay? You're going to have pre-image and an image. And what you're going to do is figure out, well, how did I get from this to this? Well, you can look at the picture. What happened to my horizontal translation? What happened here? I went from here to here. What did I do? I went plus or minus, first of all. So it's right. So I go how far?
8.
Looked like 9 to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I went right. How many? 9, and then where? Down 7. Did that happen to each one of these?
Yeah.
Let's see. Over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Down 7. Now, what would happen if on one of these points I didn't go over? Let's say I didn't go over quite as far. I didn't go down quite as far. What's going to happen to my image? Is it going to look the same? I'm going to transform my image into a different shape. Is that what our objective is here? No. No. All right. So tell me, you guys on this example, tell me what your new coordinates would be. So my x went what? Left, not over, left or back 7, and then went where? Down 5. So I went back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, down 1, 2, 3. Was it 5 or 4? It's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah. Okay. It is. It is. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, so when you apply this, okay, if you're looking at a map, for example, okay, Amelia's house is located on the map shown. Okay, she walks 3 units east. Now, think about this. What is east on a map? That way, right? To the right. Okay, she walks 3 units east. 3 units east and what? 2 units north. Where's north on a map? Okay, so where's that going to be? About right here? Okay, if she were to walk a straight path from her house to the school, what would be the distance? Huh? Well, first of all, do we understand how we found that? Okay. Now, if I wanted to find the exact distance, what would I have to use? Think about this. When we did Pythagorean theorem, finding 2 points on a graph, what did we have to do? Turn that into a what? A right triangle. Okay, you had to turn it into a right triangle. Okay. Didn't come out on there. Okay. Any questions on this? This is easy stuff, right? Okay.